Yo, what is up, everybody? And welcome back for another video. I am the strongest director. I'm a film director that lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and I live paycheck to paycheck. And this is my YouTube channel where I'm trying to get my finances back in order. So in today's video, I'm going to go ahead and cover who is included in the top 1%. And you can see if you are in that top 1 percentile. And I'm going to break it down by state, by gender, by age, by race. And I'm even going to go back and look at what was the top 1% 25 years ago, so we can kind of see what the top 1% is like for these different kind of groups. Now, if we break this down by race, the top 1% income by race for white people, it was 460,000 to be in the top 1% of white people, which is not the highest demographic in the United States. The highest demographic in the United States is Asian people for income. So the top 1% of income for Asian people was $1,000 a year more at $461,000 a year. And then the lowest was Latinos and Hispanic at $240,000 a year. And then black people was like a little bit ahead of that at $250,000 a year. They also have Pacific Islander, which I don't even know what that means. I need to look that up. That might be like Hawaiian or something. American Indians. Man, them Indians must be, it must be some rich Indians, because if you look at the chart, Indians have like almost the lowest median income, but then the top 1% is over $400,000 a year. So I guess some of them Native Americans are balling. In 2019, to be in the top 1% of male individual earners, you had to make an excess of $370,000 a year. And in 2019, to be in the top 1% of female earners, you had to make over $240,000 a year, which seems feasible, honestly, for most entrepreneurs. And the reason I like talking about the top 1% is because a lot of people always talk about you should want to be a millionaire, be the first millionaire in your family. But around 12% of U.S. citizens are millionaires. 12%. That's like a huge amount of people that are millionaires. That's probably like close to 40 million plus Americans that have a net worth of over $1 million. So if you want to know how you're doing as an individual, I think to get that American dream comfortable lifestyle where you can afford to have a super nice house, have a few cars, vacation 3 or 4 times a year, eat out as much as you want to, kind of just live a life where you don't have to worry about money or you don't have to worry about cutting back on expenses. I think making it to that top 1% is a good way to get you there to that level of super comfort. Now, if we go back to the year 1996, we can see in 1996, the top 1% income was only $150,000 a year, which is the equivalent of $266,000 with inflation adjusted. So if you want to be in the top 1% of young people, people that are like 25 or younger, at the age of 25, if you're making about $150,000, $160,000 a year, then you are in the top 1% of 25-year-olds. And for people underneath 25, it's probably you probably have to make less money than that to be in the top 1% of people in their early 20s. Now, for people in their late 20s, okay, so 2022 incomes went up a lot for people that make a lot of money. So to be in the top 1% of people age 27 to 30, you would have to make about $200,000 to $300,000 a year. The amount of money you have to make at 30 years old is about $340,000 a year to be in the top 1%, according to DKYDJ.com, and these are the statistics from 2022. Although I looked at the amount of people that they surveyed only 1,000 people per age. So I don't know how accurate this number is. They could have surveyed people just from San Francisco. They could have surveyed people from Arkansas. I don't know where they picked this 1,000 people that they surveyed. And here from Business Insider, if we go back to 2015, we can see there's a different income range for different ages. So at the age of 30, $160,000 a year in 2015 would put you in the top 1%. Then going up to 40 years old, it's already at $400,000 a year. But according to most of these charts, most people start making to be in the 1% and make over 300,000 a year is going to start around the age of 35. Once people hit 35, then they start making a lot more money. I think people in their early 20s, early 30s still haven't hit their full earning capacity yet. That doesn't come until much later in life. We're going to go to the top 5 states with the highest top earning 1% income. And a few things on this chart actually caught me off guard. So just looking at the top 5, number 1 is Connecticut, which I actually knew that Connecticut was up there. Because every time I like to look at this thing often, like the top 1%, and like Connecticut is always number 1. So to be in the top 1% income in Connecticut, you have to make around $900,000 a year, which is a lot. That's like almost $80,000 a month. And then number 2, which caught me off guard, was Massachusetts at $800,000 a year. California is ranked number 5, although California has a lot of people. So I guess that makes sense that only the top 1% of people in California are making $745,000 a year. And in New York, it's a little bit under $800,000 a year to be in that top 1%. Although every time I go to New York and I'm in Manhattan, I just feel like half the people I'm walking by on the street are like millionaires in New York, because it's just so much money concentrated into one spot. And walking through New York, you can never really tell how much money people have. Somebody could just have on like some sweatpants and a T-shirt and be a billionaire in New York. Now, we're going to the bottom states. So the state with the lowest requirement to be in the top 1% of the state actually caught me off guard, because I thought the lowest state would be in the South. And this is in West Virginia, which I guess people consider it the South, I guess. So in West Virginia, you only need to make $350,000 a year to be considered in the top 1%. And then in Mississippi, number 2, which I thought Alabama, Mississippi, and Arkansas would have been like the bottom 3. But Alabama's not even in the bottom 5. So I guess they're doing better than what I give them credit for. So as you can see, number 2, Mississippi at $360,000 a year. And then Arkansas is relatively higher at $411,000 a year. So that was the breakdown for top 1% based on gender, locations, age, and states. Like I said, I think making it to the top 1% or even top 5% is, the amount of money you probably need in the USA to live comfortably without making compromises. I think you can live comfortable at any income amount with great compromises. But if you want to get rid of those compromises and just live good, then I think being a 1%er or even top 5%er in the United States is the route to go. So, like usual, go ahead and hit the gym, read a book today, and do something that's going to benefit your future. And until next time, adios.